So this is a video on planning your LinkedIn presence. I've actually set this up for students, faculty, and I actually have sent it out to some industry people, but it's really the idea to promote and market yourself. And so I think that we as Clemson people need to be doing this. And so for the last couple of years, I've been actually making this a requirement. So I'd like to go through with you sort of the exercise of what you need to do. Now, I'm going to have you watch this outside of class, but then in one of the labs, I'm going to give you a chance. We'll take some photos if you need a new headshot. We'll give you a chance to work on the paragraphs. I can read some things. And then you'll still have to finish it outside, and then I will grade it and go through it. So let me go through this part, and I will go out and show you quite a few things in LinkedIn. So let me just start. This is from a book. It's LinkedIn for Business by Brian Carter. Every strategy is enacted well by some companies, poorly by others, and completely neglected by others. Now, I would substitute here, that was written for obviously industry. For students, it would say every strategy is enacted well by some students, poorly by others, and completely neglected by others. That's what I'm saying. You're going to go out looking for a job. I can guarantee you they will look at your LinkedIn profile, and it needs to be a powerful profile. This is not social media. This is not Facebook. They will look at your Facebook page too, but should be very business-centered. So there should be a total commitment to making this work. A half-hearted attempt is only going to give marginal results. And so what I hope to do is give you the requirements. I'd love to give everybody full points on this. Doesn't happen all the time, but it should be. You should just go through and take care of this. It doesn't take that long to make it right. Understanding networking. To a millennial, LinkedIn typically is seen as a tool to find their next job, but you need to be thinking about it as a career. I have not been looking for a new job for 30 years, but I use LinkedIn almost every single day. For an experienced business person, it's part of their daily life. You want to identify people that potentially may be helpful to your goals of your job. It's certainly when you are looking and your profile right now can be very explicit that you're looking for a job after graduation, but you need to have that new summary that as soon as you get your job, you just drop it in and you change it. So there's nothing wrong with looking for a new job if that's what you're doing, but you probably wouldn't want to announce that when you have a job that you're looking for a new job. You may find out the next day you don't. So you have to understand this is a business networking profile here. So again, under the last main bullet there, think about who you want to connect to. There needs to be a reason. It doesn't always have to be immediate. It can be something down the road. I turn an awful lot of people away. I would say on average I get 2 or 3 requests to be linked in. I'll take a look at the first thing I always do is if I can recognize their name and see they're a student, I'll go in and look at it. Now, I don't sign up with students that are not in my classes, and I have a particular reason for doing that. And you also have to make the request right. Don't make it right away until you've seen the end of this presentation. I'll tell you the right and wrong way to do it. And so a lot of times I'll have graduates that send me a request, and I actually have a file that I just have a Word file, and I copy and paste it in there and say, okay, I've accepted your invitation, but let me tell you, this is not you do not have a good profile. You need to have these things. These are the minimum things I expect of a senior right now, and you're out there already in the working world. You need to improve it. So you need to think about it. But I'm always looking to see. Now, if I look and I don't recognize who this person is, sometimes, if they're interesting, I might send them a message and say, why do you want to connect with me? I don't really see a relationship here. And sometimes they respond back to me, but too many times people just hit the connect button automatically. It really depends on your current and future roles in a company. So are you in sales, management, or production? Are you looking for customers, vendors, or partners? So what type of job is it that you're trying to have? Again, right now, you're going to be looking for a job. Maybe some of you already have a job, and so you want to start promoting what you do at that company already. Networking etiquette, this is not the same thing as Facebook. This is not the same thing as Twitter. This is not really social media. There should be a better name for it. They just haven't. This is business media. I don't know. They just haven't come up with a good name for it. Okay, but you should always be a soft sell when you're doing this. When you're posting anything, you don't want to pitch a sale of product, or you don't want to pitch what you want from them on the very first time when you're connecting with them. You want to connect with them, let a little bit of time pass, then ask for some help. And you don't want to post a pitch to a group. We'll talk about groups a little bit later, and I'll show you a lot about groups. You want to send them a personal message. Do not use the default to connect that says, I'd like to connect with you on LinkedIn. And I'm going to show you that in a little while. I'll actually show you some slides of people that have done that. It's a very important slide. These are character limits. It's characters, not words. A lot of people get mixed up. I actually had one student last semester said, why is Dr. Langer limiting us to these numbers? It's not me. It's LinkedIn. Okay, these are the limits LinkedIn's put in. Your headline is 120 characters. Now, you really want it to be as close to 120 characters as it can. Your summary, 2,000 characters. That's about the equivalent of 2 double-space typed pages. That's a pretty good story you can tell. Specialties, some things that you might have, some characters, 500 characters. Web descriptions, so if I want to say I have a personal web page and I want them to go to it, I've got 26 characters to tell them what that web page is. They can see the link, but then I can tell them what I want it to be. My position title, 100 characters. Now I can have multiple positions, all right? So I can have multiple jobs, so I can break it down that way. Now the position description, you got 2,000 characters again. Educational degrees, this is just what you're stating what the educational degree is, not what you studied and everything, but educational degree, you've got 100 characters. Educational fields of study, again, you got 100 characters. Educational activities in society, 500. In your interest section, you can actually put 1,000 words under each one of your interests. Groups and associations, you can have 1,000 characters. I think I might have just said 1,000 words under interest, but it's always characters. All of these are characters. Honors and awards, you have 1,000 characters to explain what it is. Skills, you have 61 characters per skill name. You can create them, your own skill list, and you can have up to 50 skills listed. Once you go over 50, it doesn't let you add anymore. So a lot of times what's happened with me is people have added things to my skills list. Like, for example, the one that keeps popping up, I'm willing to bet it's on my skill list today, is Quark Express. I have not used Quark Express for probably 10 years, okay? But every once in a while it still shows up on there. I just delete it because I want to keep skills that are relevant to what I do and what I'm good at. So this is just to sort of get you started. I'm just going to go out and show you a little bit. I'm going to show you a little bit of a LinkedIn page. Now, looking at this, if you will, I'm just using mine as a start, and I have mine in the profile page. And so I want to point out a couple things, and we'll talk more specifically. So you want a headshot. Your photo should be a headshot. It shouldn't be two people. It shouldn't be you and your dog. It shouldn't be you and your family. I was helping someone from the industry the other day, and he had a picture of his family. I said, this is not Facebook. He said, well, I don't have a Facebook page. Well, it doesn't matter. This is a business. This is not social. This is business. Okay. Now, I started with saying I'm a professor at Clemson University. The very first thing that you should be starting with is you are a student at Clemson University. I don't care if you're interning right now. I don't care if you've been interning. I don't care if you're getting ready to graduate. The first thing that people identify with you is that you are a student at Clemson University. I probably also have graphic communications in there. So I say my main job is I'm a professor at Clemson University. I'm an educator. Now, I divided it by a pipe, okay? And every space counts as a character. Every dot, everything counts as character. I only have 128 characters I can use. I've used 118, as close as I could get. But I'm an educator. I'm a speaker at conferences. I'm a trainer. I'm an author. I've written 120 articles, publications, a couple of them chapters in books. And then another bar because I'm sort of switching modes. I'm very into digital printing, very into marketing. MSP stands for Marketing Service Provider, and variable data. And I started using abbreviations so I could get enough in there. I basically have my interest area here is printing. Currently, I'm at Clemson University freelance printer. So you can fill all of these things in. I'll put this into the profile mode in a little bit. You can see, and then education. Now, right now, I've got education. That's where I'm going to school. I'm getting my master's at St. Leo's, so I have that there. I'm going to go back into the PowerPoint in a few minutes, but I want to show you a few things here. So this is my summary. Again, I told you a moment ago that you have 2,000 characters to have your summary. I'm not saying that you have to use all 2,000 characters. I'm actually pretty close to 2,000 characters. But what I will tell you is you'll notice I've got 3 paragraphs here. I do have a fourth one. I'll explain the fourth one in a second. But generally, I'm looking for people to have 3 paragraphs. The first paragraph is, what are you right now? I mean, are you a student? Are you already employed? What are you? What do you do? Okay, and then explain your job a little bit. Now, there are a lot of other places further down in this for you to do a good job of explaining your actual job. So this is sort of telling more about what I am, that I'm an educator, and what's going on. The second thing. The second paragraph here is basically trying to tell people a little bit about what got you to where you are today. In other words, maybe it's a little bit of a philosophical point of view of who you are. And then the third thing is, what are you passionate about? And the third paragraph doesn't have to have anything to do with your job. It could be a charity that you're passionate about. It could be that you're passionate about helping underprivileged kids. It could be that you're in scouting. What is it that you're passionate about? So get a little bit of personality in this. You're telling people a story. One of the reasons I started teaching this was I went and I did a conference. It was called Peer Group, and it was 10 print owners. They came together. Smallest company is 25 million. Largest was 55 million, and the CEO came in, like the vice president of the company came, and as they're going around the table and they're introducing themselves, I'm calling their name up on LinkedIn to find out about them, and they're terrible. They're not telling me anything about them, and I'll show you a few in a minute that are really poor, and every once in a while I would find one that had a little bit, and it was like somebody else was narrating their life. This is you. This is your resume on steroids. This is where you can tell a story and let people start to understand who you are. Now, additionally, okay, so I have 2 videos that I've posted here. One is an ROI of being an employee. I really encourage everybody to watch that. I don't know, it's about 7 minutes long, but it's a real good one. It's always been something I've shown in class, and I told so many people about it in industry, they really encouraged me to post it. So I don't show it in class anymore. I just put it up there so industry people could do it. Also, there's a there's a video by a fellow by the name of Scott Stratton, who's a speaker at big conferences, and he's even written a book, and it says QR codes kills kittens, and I offered a rebuttal to that. It really frustrates me. He's a high-paid speaker, and he made everybody think at the end of this presentation, hour-long presentation. I went to it. He spoke at the DMA, Direct Marketing Association conference, hour-long presentation, and at the end of the presentation, people walking out thinking QR codes are bad, but he has one sentence in the middle that basically says, "Oh, if you use it right, it's good." But he doesn't do it that way. Now, there's a lot more that goes into this, but I'm going to come back to this in a few minutes. I'm going to show you Viveka von Rosen. You can look her up, okay? But Viveka von Rosen has come. She spoke to Clemson, and she has got one of the most amazing pages you've ever seen. She is one of the leading authorities on LinkedIn. I've got one of her books I use as a reference too. You're going to see some things in her in hers. So she starts off with some posts and stuff. And then she gets to a summary, very different style summary than what I suggested for you. But she's in the business of trying to become a presenter to companies on using LinkedIn effectively. But just look at this. Why should you hire right here? Okay, why should you hire Vivica Rosen to do your LinkedIn marketing? Okay, she was Forbes' top 20 women in social media 4 years in a row. Forbes' top 50 most influential people 4 years in a row. LinkedIn's top 25 social media influencers. I mean, and it just goes on. And she's got different projects she's done for people, some different places where she's spoken. These are her skills. Look at every single one of her skills, even all the way down to here. She is at 99 plus. She has been just really well recruited. Now up at the top, by the way, it says that she's 500 plus, but if you look here, it says that she has 31,753 members. You can't actually have more than 30,000. Now, you could still ask to be invited to her, and she can say yes, but she can't go out anymore and ask for more people to join. So she's got the highest number I've ever seen. And you can look at this and scroll down. This woman's amazing. She's got features. She's got endorsements for projects she's worked on. She's done all these different things. Very qualified. She's got advice on here. She's done webinars. She has videos on different parts. This one is sort of linked into the extreme, if you will. Let me go back to the PowerPoint presentation, and we'll sort of come back. I'll switch back to some other LinkedIn pages a little bit more on my own. One of the other important limits that I want to talk about is the maximum number of groups is 100. It used to be 50, it's now 100. I'm going to really show you how powerful groups are and what you want to do when you start working with groups. But that's a really powerful one to remember. That's why I have it sort of separated from the others. So the critical minimal parts for your profile, this right here is what I am going to grade you. This is my rubric to you, okay, in the class. You have to have an appropriate headline. It makes your first impression. Well, I guess technically your photo makes the first impression. But you've got that 120 characters. Use them. And I am telling you, the first thing you should be saying is you should be saying that you are a Clemson student. That's number one, okay? If it's been great, go ahead and put in that you've interned to other places. If you freelance, but you're a Clemson student, that's how people are going to identify you. If they're trying to look up your profile, when they're interviewing you, they sort by those type of things, and that's how they'll find you, okay? By the way, also, when you put your name down, I don't have this anyplace here. When you put your name down, if you use a short name, let's say you go by Pat, your name's Patrick and you go by Pat, okay? You'd want to put Patrick in there and then in quotation marks Pat, which would identify that it's your preferred name, and then your last name. You need to have both there because people are going to be looking at you, looking or searching based on your full name most of the time. Maybe they don't know your preferred name, so you want to have both things in there. Very important thing to do. Your photo needs to be professional, appropriate. I'm not saying that you have to go out and hire someone. You can go into the photo studio and get a good background behind you. Do it in front of Godfrey Hall. Take a nice headshot. Generally, for guys, I'd probably put a tie on. I know it has a lot to do with what type of job you're doing, if you're going to be a designer, things like that. So maybe I can do this. But this is a business. This is a business networking one, so you want to be professional. You don't want to be too casual here. Contact information, other than social media links that you can put on there, you want a mailing address. Now, I know phone number might be a little bit controversial with some people. The point is, do you want them to contact you or not? Okay, that's important. Certainly your business phone number should be on there if you don't want to put your personal cell phone number on there. And your email should be on there. Some people would prefer to do it. If you're not at 500 plus people on your profile, you're probably not using LinkedIn a lot, so people being able to go to your email may be the best way to contact you. Summary, this is where you can tell them who you are and you can tell them what's important to you. Consider including a YouTube video like I did, images of work that you've done, portfolio. Do not put your resume on here. This is not the place to put your resume. This is your resume. Your LinkedIn profile is your resume on steroids. Why would you just put this paper resume on there that wants to do it? If you want to give them a link to where they can download it from something, that's fine. But don't put the resume in there. It sort of limits you too much. Gives you so much more that you can tell people. Under experiences, you should include all relevant experiences, not just your last job. Tell them what you did. That's the other thing, is take a paragraph and say, what did you do in this job? How is this job helping you to become a better employee for them? What did you do in it? Clarify that. Education. Outline each college you went to and explain your course of study. I'm going to go back to mine in just a minute and show you what I'm talking about on all of these. And then I'll show you some people that haven't done it very well and some things that you want to do. And groups. You should be in at least 10 groups. Should be on your list. When you turn this in for grading, you should be in at least 10 groups, and you have to do this sooner. Some groups, or maybe you need to try to be in 15, because some groups won't let you get in without sending you an email asking you why you want to be in the group. They're closed groups, not open groups. Other groups, as soon as you say you're in, you're doing that. I'll also show you where you have to turn on to show that you want to show your groups. It's very important when you do check this that you need to look at your profile on somebody else's computer so you can see what people are seeing, not what you're seeing. Okay? And the last thing is interests. These are keywords, and this is what lets people find you. What's important to you? So let's go back. We'll take another look at my profile and go down here. So as I go down here, I say I'm a professor in graphic communication. These are my experiences. These are my jobs, okay? I've been a professor since 1986 here, 30 years and 6 months. I tell what I do, what I teach, what are some of the things that I do. I've got plenty of space to put that in. I do have one recommendation from Tim Kirkland a number of years ago. He did that for me. I'm also a conference and a trade show speaker, panelist, trainer, facilitator. I've spoken that over, it's now over 550 presentations over my career. That's how I stay current in the industry. I go out, trade what I know, so that they cover my expenses, usually, hopefully, to get there. I get to the conference for free, so I get to learn new stuff, and it just is a self-perpetuating thing. But it's pretty significant and a big part of what I do. And so I explain why in the second paragraph, and then I try to give a list of some of the things that I've done presentations at. So now when you look at this, okay, I've spoken to 20 times as many groups as you see there, but I ran out of characters. You can only use 2,000 characters here, so that's essentially what I did. I'm also a technical expert on patent lawsuits. Now, sorry, I need to switch back. I'm a technical expert on patent lawsuits. Notice this is pretty private, so I don't make a list of the different companies that I've been technical expert with, but I have done it for 5 different patent lawsuits that were going on. It's been an interesting part of my career. I was also an instructor back in July 81 to July 86. I was an instructor at Central Piedmont Community College. Pretty simple. It was a long time ago, so I didn't do a lot on it. I'm certified as an electronic document a data professional and a mail design professional. Those are 2 certifications that I have, and how long they last. Places and things that I volunteer in, organizations that I support. Here are my skills. So again, I'm pretty high on these first couple. If I wanted to, I could probably ask people to help push my numbers up here, but that's never really been a big push of mine or what I want to do. And then you can see some other ones. Yeah, look at that Quark Express. It's still there. I haven't used Quark Express for 10 years, but it still keeps showing up. They're not all showing. There's 25 more. You can have up to 50 groups. Sorry, these aren't groups. You can have up to 50 different skill sets that you're working on. You can start to look and see here who are people that have endorsed you. These are the most recent people. So you'll see that Nick endorsed me in quite a few things here in this last column. But you can start to see some of the people over there. Again, every single school that I'm not talking about high school, you need to write a little bit about what it is. So here, St. Leo's Masters of Arts in Theology offers a flexible adult learning module for non-traditional graduates. That's what I'm studying. My Clemson University, I have an EDD. Clemson, I have a Master's of Industrial Education. And then my undergraduate degree was at SUNY Oswego. And I've written down a paragraph under each one of these of what I learned, what was in it that helped me become who I am today. Write a paragraph. Interest, I've got different things in here that show some of the things that I like to do. In some are work related and some of them aren't. On personal details, I do have my birthday there. Don't have my year. It's your choice. You can turn it on or off. Marital status is married. And then I even give advice. A good tool for contacting me directly is email, or InMail. I get pretty well. And I give him my office number. I seldom in my office, but you can always leave a message. Now, we're getting down here to this recommendation somebody gave me. These are connections that I have with a number of different people. You could start looking through it yourself, see if there was somebody else you want to be connected with. But here are groups. And the important thing about groups is once you belong in a group with someone, you can connect with them anytime. You don't have to be a first level connection. I haven't explained first, second, third level connection yet. I will in just a little bit. But look at my groups and decide what ones. Now, one of the ones I'm probably most active with is CMO, because I'm very into marketing right now. And there are 250,720 people in this. Now, by the way, if you click and join this one, you don't automatically get in. They sent me an email and they asked, why do I want to be in this group? And I explained to them that I was a teacher and that I taught marketing and I wanted to have connection. I wanted to understand what's going on in the marketing world. Some of these others are much easier to get into. You can just click on them and you can get in them. But the key is looking at other people, find out what they're in. And if you see something good, then join it. That's how you get yours. But the other thing is there's 609 members that belong to the National Print Owners Association. Okay, 609 people are in that. I can access anyone in that group. Any one of those 609 people I can contact for free. I don't have to be a premium LinkedIn member. I'll be able to send them an InMail directly from here. So being in groups is a really powerful way to do that. We have Clemson Graphic Communications group. We have 544 people in that. You can join that and just stay current with people that are graduating and see what's going on. So again, you can look at all of mine. Maybe some of them are ones you want to do. I also have companies that I'm following. I'm doing some work on it has to do with a sales class, but I'm doing some work and research that has to do with gas stations, convenience stores that sell gas. So I've got Sheetz, which is sort of in the North Carolina and then goes up into the New England area. Spinks is only in South Carolina. There's 70 stores, but it's only in South Carolina. Wawa's all over the country. Quick Trip, I think everybody around here knows Quick Trip. You could click on any one of these and it tells you more about the company. Go back to my page again. And then I can follow different schools. So I follow Clemson, Oswego, where I went to undergraduate work, and St. Leo's, where I'm working on my degree right now. There's some other stuff that's over here, and I'll show you in a little bit. I'll come back up, and I'll show you how to edit some of these things. Let's go back to PowerPoint right now and understand more deeply some of the things I just tried to point out. Appropriate headline. Outside of your photo, this is typically the first thing people see or read. This is your first impression. You got 120 characters, an account, space, commas, periods, whatever. And it describes the different facets of your life, okay? Use the 120 characters. as close as you can get. Use abbreviations. Make it count. And what do you want to be known for? Do you want to just be known that you're a Clemson GC student? Or do you want to be known that you were an intern at a certain company? Do you want to be known because you do freelancing? Why? What do you want to be known for? And it needs to be more than just your title. Your photo, professional quality, any one of us can do that. Really shouldn't be a cell phone selfie. Typically, it's a headshot. You can plan a background such as the building or in the plant or focus, but you want to focus on your face. So, I mean, if you wanted to have Godfrey Hall behind you or Tillman Hall behind you, that would be okay, but you need to definitely be, the major part of it is your face. And part of that is because when somebody searches for you and they get 10 people on a page, it's going to be a really small picture. And they want to be able to tell, hey, that is the person I met yesterday. So it really needs to be mostly a headshot. Keep that in mind. Okay, not a group shot. You want to avoid distractions, so not a group shot. Your pet on your favorite motorcycle. There's several other places you can put all of these images if you're interested, but don't put them in that first shot, that photo you see when it opens up. Your contact information, you need to give them the way to contact you or your surrogate. This is it. You need to let people contact you to the way they want to contact you, not the way you want to be contacted. It depends what your job is. It depends what you're doing. So at a minimum, what you have to give for me is I want to see a hard mailing address and I want to see an email address. Okay? If you have a phone number on there, that's fine, but at least you have to have a hard mail address, and you also have to have an email address. That's absolute minimum. Give them the option to connect with you the way they prefer. Again, I'd love to see phone on there, but it's not required. Personalize your link. I'll show you how to do that in just a few minutes. If you are already working for a company, you want to put your company homepage on there. Maybe you have a couple of web pages that show your portfolio you want to put on there, and that can be in your contact information as well. So specific web pages inside your company's web pages may be appropriate for what you're doing. Summary, I already told you this, but I'm going to reinforce it. You need to tell a story. Make it interesting so people will keep reading. The facts come later. The facts come underneath your education. The facts come underneath awards. Facts come underneath all those other categories. Tell them how you are different from everybody else. They should glean insights into what your values are. Do you have a good work ethic? What's important in your life? Those are really important things that should come out in this story you tell them. Brief work history, because there is plenty of space to talk about your work experience other places. And then how did you get where you are today, and what gets you excited? And what benefits do you bring to the table? I always tell these printers, these presidents, these CEOs, when I open up their web pages and they've got nothing. And I'm sitting there going, if you think you're a marketing service provider, your summary should be screaming that. It shouldn't say I'm a marketing service provider. It should just talk about the things that you do that obviously would be done by somebody that was a marketing service provider. So you need to put this all together. Now, the summary needs to be updated at appropriate times when you change positions, changes in your life. Say you get married, you have a new baby, you're graduating from college. And I still have graduates that have emailed me 6 months after they've graduated, and they still have the picture of them in their graduation gown at Clemson. That's not right. You should change that picture after, at least a week or so after you graduate, or maybe the day you walk in and you start your new job. Change in responsibility, change in locations. The only thing I've changed timelines a few times. When I've been at Clemson a little bit longer, I've been doing something, so I'll go in and I'll edit that. And also, I had a new grandbaby that was born on October 31st, 2015, and I put that in. And I have another brand new grandbaby that's going to be born sometime in the next couple of months, so I will put that one up as well. Experience in education, there can be some overlap here with things that were in summary, but remember to give people background on who you are. Really talk about what you learned in the education and experience. There's two things that are going on there: your experience or your jobs. Education is where you went to school, but in both of these, you want to give them background information. What did you do at Clemson that made you a unique employee that they want to hire you? What type of skills did you get? Are putting the mission statement in from our webpage is excellent. It's a really good mission statement, and having that inside what you're talking about, our department, that's a very positive thing. Again, you have up to 2,000 characters in each one of these sections. Under education, cover each college attended and each degree you received separately. So if you got 2 degrees from one school, do not put them there unless you're doing. I was looking at people's degrees work, and I do know that somebody is doing a double baccalaureate right now, receiving it at the same time, so the graduate. That would be fine. You would put those two under the same category, not separate. But tell them a little bit about what you studied, and please avoid giving them a list of classes that you took. I see that so many times. To the person who went to Clemson Graphic Communications and took Graphic Communications, they recognize the list, but it's not helping. To the people that never went here, they don't know what it means. They don't know what's covered in those classes. It's not going to help. Talk about what you learned. Talk about what you did. A paragraph should be the way you start. And then if you want to have a bullet list of a few things, that's okay. Groups and interest, again, people can learn a lot about you when they look at the different groups you're in. They shouldn't all be business. Some of them maybe are things that you, maybe you're involved with Relay for Life, American Cancer Society. It tells people about you. Maybe you're involved with Boy Scouts or something along those lines. Those are groups that you might want to also add there, so some of your personal side can come through. Your list of interests tell people a lot about you, but also it becomes their strategic elements to help them find you when they're searching in LinkedIn. Groups can be a great resource. You can have up to 100 of them. You want to mix between groups you are interested in and groups that your contacts are interested in. The groups you are in tells the viewer something about who you are and what's important to you. You can follow up with a group and learn more about the topic or market. You can post questions to a group for solutions to problems, and you can post information and share something that will promote your image. I want to go back to the profiles, and I'm going to switch on my. You know what? Before I do that, I'm going to show you some other profiles that maybe aren't as good. So I'm going to go over here. And I actually did, in Reference USA, I went to Sheets. Okay, I did a research on Sheets. Again, that was one of the companies that I'm researching. And so I do have a list here. So I've got Joe Sheets. He's the CEO. Okay, so I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go back and I'm going to search Joe Sheets. Okay, I didn't get anything. Now I'm not going to give up yet. So I'm going to go to Advanced. And when I go to Advanced, over here on the right, I can be a little bit more specific. So I'm going to say Joe and Sheets. Okay. Now, he's the CEO, so I'm looking for CEO current. So I'll just say he's the current, and the company is Sheets. Okay. Now, I'm going to now do a search. Okay, so this time I got him. I used that advanced search. I gave a little bit more information, and I found him. So now let's take a look at him, okay? Let's take a look at him. He got 500 plus. Now he's a 3rd degree. A 1st degree means I am connected directly with somebody. A 2nd degree means that I'm connected to somebody that's connected to the person I want to talk to. A 3rd degree means I'm connected to somebody that's connected to somebody that's connected to Joe Sheets. Okay? Now, let's take a look at his. This is a president and CEO of a company. First of all, why is this picture on an angle? I don't know. Okay? I don't know. Now, I do see he went to the University of Pennsylvania, the Wharton School of Business, president, CEO. He's a trustee. So he's a trustee for college. That's interesting to know. If I was trying to get my foot in the door and contact him, that might be a way to do it. He was in finance and store development. He was the president he still is the president. No, I'm sorry, he stopped doing that, of the Area Baseball Association, chairman of a development corporation, chairman at a college, account manager for a consulting group, went to Pennsylvania, so I can learn a little bit about him. Okay, not in very many groups. Notice I am in a group here. I am a member with him. And that's why when we go back up to the top, you see I'm a third level with him. Okay, it would cost me, as a premium member, it would cost me an in-mail. And you only have so many a month that you can use. It would cost me an in-mail to contact him. But because I am in a group with him, okay, I can send the CEO of Sheets, I can send him a message. It'll go directly to him. Okay, if we look at his contact information, I've got his Twitter feed. Might be interesting to follow the company webpage, and I've got what his hobby is. I wonder what his hobby is. Redirecting me. I wonder what his hobby is. I don't know. May take too long to get there. I'm going to get rid of that. So I'm going to go back, but you can see there's a lot of different things. Now, I want you to look at his LinkedIn handle here. This is what you can put on your business card, and he just took what they gave him. I want to show you on mine how you can change that, and it's not just change that. So I want to go to my profile, okay, and I'm going to say that I want to edit my profile. Now you can see everywhere where I have a pencil, I could change this. So if I clicked on this, and again, I told you if you had a nickname, so your first name is Patrick, you go by Pat, you would put Patrick and then in quotation marks Pat and then your last name, and I would just put that in there. I could go and edit this, okay? Again, I'm 118 characters. I can edit down here. When you're just doing it for the first time, you get to pick what field and what industry you're in and where you're located. I could change any of these things. I got a pencil, I can go in and edit, okay? Now, if I look at my contact information, okay, I have my email address is right here. I could edit that. I have my cell phone number here. I have my Clemson University address here, so my art address. This is my Twitter feed, my Twitter handle. I have 3 different web pages here. I have the Clemson GC web page, I have the XMPy Users Group web page, and I have the GC Intern web page. So I can go send people to any of those. Now, if I click over here, and you got to look real carefully where I am. It's not all the others were look like a little pencil. This is sort of like a little gear. If I click on this, and it's a really important one that you need to follow what I'm doing. If I click on that, it opens up for several things for me. Okay, over here I can customize my public profile. First of all, if I come up here, I can click on this and notice I can't change this beginning, but I just have Langener there. Now, if another Langener wanted to do this, they couldn't use it. I was the first Langener that personalized it this way. So if my son wanted to do it, he could put Langener and he could put, his birth year after it, or he could put D Langener. There's a couple of things you can do. But I made it as short as I can make it, and that's what you want to try to do. Okay? Now, when I customize my public view, I can see my picture, my head, my website. I have everything turned on. More than once, students have turned in their webpage, said it's ready for me to look at. They never went to this, and they never turned it on, and so I don't see their interest. So my interest won't be showing up at this point, okay, or my skills, or my groups. Okay, you have to make sure that it's turned on. Now, again, what I told you to do earlier, I'll repeat this again, is you need to look at your profile on somebody else's computer through their LinkedIn page, not logging on as yourself on their computer, and make sure you're seeing everything, because that's what I'm going to see. Okay, so that's how you want to edit those things and make sure that you have those checked off. Okay. And again, I can go down. I need to close out of that. So I'm going to cancel out of that. And I just need to go back to edit my profile. And when I'm going down here, I can change my videos. I can change and edit this real easily. So, if I look here and I find something that, I've been doing it one more year than I used to be doing, I can change that. So I've been teaching 39 years. I could say 39 and a half, but I've been teaching 39 years. I've updated this recently, and then again, my grandson was born. So I cancel that, but I can add videos, I can add portfolios. This is where people add their resumes. Please don't do that. I'm not going to tell you to take it away, but I really discourage people, and you'll probably get that comment. I can go in here, I can edit this. You can see I can edit any one of these different things here where I've got a pencil. Okay. So these are all things that you can come and you can edit, you can add things to it, and keep filling it in as far as what you want to do. But again, you need to make sure that it's visible so I can see it when you get to the point. We're just going through my records. Okay? Now, there's a couple other things that I want to show you. So now I want to go in and just view it as a profile. And I also, Travis Sheets was another one that I found. I looked up the marketing manager for, sales manager, marketing manager for Sheets, and he doesn't have a LinkedIn page. I just don't understand that. Travis is an executive VP of operations for Sheets. He's got 500, okay, but he's got no summary. There's no passion here. It's just telling me facts about him. Your summary tells people who you are. Now, what's interesting here is when I scroll down a little ways, Julie Schaefer, okay, it knows, it is friends with him. If we take a look at this, I'm in a group with him. He's a third level. I can send him an email. It won't cost me anything to send him an email, but I'm only in a group with him. But if I wanted an introduction, Julie is connected to him. So Julie Schaefer is a friend of mine at PIA, and I could say, Julie, could you put me in touch with Travis or introduce me to Travis? And sometimes that's a good way to get people to pay attention to you. All right? All right, so let's look at some other ones here. Boingo, you might do something like this, okay? So Boingo is a company. I just searched Boingo, Boingo Graphics. So I'll go ahead and Boingo, and they're in Charlotte. So I've got Boingo Graphics right here. I click on this. Over here it tells me I have 1 first-degree connection. I have 12 second-degree connections with them. You can see what I'm highlighting over here on the right-hand side. Okay? And I have 21 employees that are on LinkedIn at that company. So I'm just going to say I want to see all. And right here at the top, it is Scott that I am a first-level connection with. I've known Scott for a number of years. It was real interesting when I found out that he ran this company. But I could send a message to him because I am a first level connection with him. Now, I want to point out, if I click on this connect button, it's going to be a default message. Never, ever, ever connect on that connect button. The only way you should ever connect, so if I wanted to go to Kathy Kirby, I would click on Kathy Kirby. Again, we are a second level connection. And now that's because I knew Scott, and she's first level with Scott. If I want to connect with her, I only want to hit the connect button from her profile. And when it does, when I click connect, I click up here that I am a colleague, and it gives me all these choices. So I can either say, introduce myself as a professor of graphic communications at Clemson University. I can say that I'm a technical expert witness if I was trying to, say, get a new job doing that for another law firm. I'm a speaker at conferences and trade shows, or I was an instructor at Central Piedmont Community College, or I could put something else in there. So generally, I'm usually going to use the first one. I could say I was a classmate if that was appropriate. We've done business together before, a friend. I now have 300 characters total, and it includes everything, including spaces. So I now can write a message, and I can write a personalized message to them. This is a win-win. Why should they connect with you? Not just, hey, you want to connect with me, but always send them a message. And I've got a strategy on one of the slides that helps you do that. I'm not going to actually try to connect with her right now, so I'm just going to go back. She's got a good summary. She's got some good stuff in there. Talks a little bit about what she does, executive president. She's got a little video in there so you can see that, and some other jobs that she's done. So she's got a pretty good listing here. And then if I take a look at the groups that she's in, again, she's not in a lot, but she's in a couple that I'm in. See, it says we're members. We're both members. Okay, but maybe I could get in another group that she's in if I was trying to connect with her. So that's why groups are so important. I go back here. So we talked about groups, and this is, again, it's a very powerful tool to use groups. Whenever you post to a group, you may want to do this. Don't post too often. If you post the entire group, make sure it's relevant to the entire group. Don't just try to, salespeople will do that, and they'll try to sell to everybody in the group, and that's just a bad way to do it. If you're posting something, you need to return to the group and review the comments to see if people had questions or responses to what you wrote, and proof everything you write. If I send you a message, when I grade your LinkedIn profile, I will type it all out in Word first. I'll run it through spell check. I'll proofread it. And every once in a while, a typo still gets by. But I try the best I can to send you a good, clean message. And so when you get a LinkedIn message back from me, I've done a good job of trying to clean it up. Connecting the right way, I've already mentioned this, but avoid clicking the connect button on people may know you or people who viewed your profile. It will send the default message. It's gone before you know it, and you only want to hit the connect button from their profile, period. So this is the default message. When I get the default message like this, I will view people's profile. If I find out they were a Clemson graduate, I will usually send them a paragraph. It's just the default paragraph that I have. I copy and paste it out. I do change a little bit in it, saying, well, you've got 125 connections, so you're trying to grow this. This isn't a good way to do this. You might want to try doing this. Here are the 10 things I require of the seniors now. So something to be thinking about. Okay, the right way is always search their name and send them a personal message requesting to connect. This is really true. I got this one. I'm pretty sure that this person took this from her dating profile on some other webpage. Hey, guys, my name is Mishka Felicity, and I am from Quebec City, Quebec. I'm pretty crazy about computer games, and I normally call myself a technology geek. I don't know how to cook. This is crazy. Now, you might be thinking, I'm making this up. No, I'm not. Okay? This is her webpage. Okay? This is her webpage. First of all, that is an inappropriate picture. Okay? First of all, she took it off her computer. It wasn't a professional shot, and it's not businesslike. She's got some things that she's done, which is probably not a bad thing here, but she has not changed this. It is still the same thing. Okay, now I have to be honest. She sent me this request, and she's a designer. Okay, and she's into digital marketing executive, works for brand jaws and stuff. But I'm not impressed with this at all. I'm not impressed with her at all. But I'm going down here, and you've already remember I've mentioned Julie Schaefer. She is connected with Julie Schaefer. And if I look at the connections that she's got connections to, that I share connections, okay, I'm a first level connection with many of these people. So I sent Julie Schaefer an email, and I said, Julie, is this some wizard designer that I should be involved with? This looks crazy to me. Why are you connected to her? And she said, I probably just hit the accept button too quickly. And she was just going for numbers. And it's crazy. So I do not accept everything. And if you don't send me, I've had people send me, what they send me is, Dr. Langener, it would be great if you could connect with me, and I would have contact to all of the groups and the people in your groups and all of your contacts, and that would just be great for me to help me find a job. I'm not going to connect with you. This is supposed to be a win-win. What am I going to get out of being connected with you? Think about that before you send me a message. You've got 300 characters to tell me why you should be connected with me. All right, let's go back and finish the PowerPoint. Sending a message to connect. You only have 300 characters to convince them there's value for them to connect with you. Consider one of the following strategies. Remind them how you met. Hey, I just heard you talk in class about something, something, something. Really helped me. Understood. Love it if I could work with you more on that topic. Explain why you want to connect with them. Describe the benefits for each of you. It should be a win-win factor. Compliment them or comment on something you saw in their profile. You saw they just won an award. That's awesome. You saw they just had a new baby. You saw they just had a new grandchild. Compliment them on something. Mention something you saw. That's showing that you care and you know who they are. Point to something that you have in common. Okay? Point to something that you have in common with that person. Mention someone you know in common with them. Or, as I've already talked about, is you could ask someone else to introduce you to them, and that's a very powerful tool to do it. Other things just to think about, status updates. I typically turn them off, and the reason I do that is every time I make one little change, I don't want to announce it to everybody. Now, when my grandchild was born and I added that last sentence, I turned it on that one time. And then as soon as I posted that, I turned it off. So nothing else followed after that. But I did want to let all my friends that I know in the business world know that I was now a grandfather. Put your LinkedIn URL on your business card. Also, I'd put it on your email. Put it on the signature line of your email. And then recommendations and testimonials. In my career, it's not really helpful. I don't do a lot of that. I have some people that ask me to do it. Sometimes I do. I'd rather write you a recommendation letter when it's appropriate rather than a general thing that just gets posted there. If you're doing projects for people, it's great things to put on your webpage and they can see what you do, the type of work you do. And then background photos in the banner position. What did I mean by that? If we go back up here to mine, this was I actually made a panoramic shot of that with my camera, and then I put it together so it was nice and short and shallow, but you can see that it's basically looking at the library, and pick out something that you want to do. And then groups, get your company involved in groups and be a contributor. When you get out there and you get a real job, it's the type of thing that you want to do. So this is just something hopefully will be helpful for you. I'm going to give you a little bit of time in lab to work on a few things, and I'll talk about this when we get into lab, something I'd like you to work on. So we'll build from there. Thanks for listening.